Hello, this is a guide for lesser experienced players in the game The Conquerors Mark III from Roblox. In this video, I will be providing a few tips that if you aren't already doing, will probably increase your chances of winning. Let's get started. When you first get started in a normal conquest game, you will spawn in with 5 other players. In a 2v2v2 game, you want to form an alliance with a player that you think will best help you instead of accepting the first request from a player. It is most logical to form an alliance with someone whose space is close to you. Depending on a map like Mansion, you will spawn next to only one player, and you should request an alliance with them. If you are in a map that has more than one player and about the same distance from you, it's up to you. I know there's a stigma in judging a player's skill based on how many skins they have, but it's honestly a guarantee that a player with 300 skins will play much better than a player with 1 skin. Once you have an ally, then you can start building an economy. Now there's a question that many argue about. Should you either build power plants or nuclear plants? There's not really a right answer for this, but what I like to do is place a nuclear plant at my base and at my ally's base, and then build power plants on the rest of the crystals. Also, if the map has oil spots, always try to place in an oil rig for each of them. In fact, most of the times you will want to make a shipyard very soon in the game, and then place the oil rigs. They only give the same income as power plants, but they cost only half as much. Depending on the map, the necessary amount of income can vary. For most maps, 100 cash per minute is good enough for you to form an army at a decent rate, though with smaller maps like Mansion, it is okay to have less. When you have a good amount of income, you want to analyze your opponents. To win matches, it is a good idea to analyze each opponent, but sometimes it can be too much and you wind up being distracted. So for now, focus on your biggest opponent, which is going to be the one closest to your home base. Closely look at his base and see if he has any production buildings. Does he have a barracks? Does he have a naval shipyard? Does he have a tank factory? Then you want to find a way to counter his army. For example, if they already have a barracks and are making heavy soldiers, then you also want to make a barracks and produce heavy soldiers. If they are making battleships, you also want to make battleships. Even if they aren't making an army, you should still make one. This makes sure that in a case they try to attack your buildings or oil rigs, you can stop them. Also, while making your army, it is a good idea to research unit caps with soldier houses and tank houses. Always keep your army at a logical position. Keep it where it protects passageways that your opponent can pass their army through and get to your home base. If your opponent tries to attack you at any point, send your army towards theirs to defend. Otherwise, if the enemy hasn't attacked and you are confident that you have a stronger army than theirs, you can try to attack them. Find a weak point to attack. Most times they will have a power plant that isn't being protected by them. If you attack it and they try to defend by sending their army, fight it. When you are fighting an opponent's army with your army, it is important to micromanage your troops. What this means is usually tanking and focusing your firepower. By tanking, you would first have a unit with full health absorb the enemy's damage. Once that unit has about half of its HP left, select that unit and move it to the back where it gets out of range of the enemy's troops, and then send it back where it can fire into the enemies behind your army. Now there's another unit absorbing the enemy's damage, while the last one is still alive and providing firepower. Do this a couple times until you win the battle. Focusing your firepower means focusing most of your army's target into one enemy unit. This makes sure that unit dies as soon as possible and their army dies faster than yours. To do this, keep your army close together and attack at an angle where all your troops will attack only one of their units. If you manage to win the fight and killing most of their army while keeping yours mostly alive, then your chances of killing that opponent is raised extremely high. They might even leave the game. After the battle is over, target their power plants and nuclear plants to make sure their income is cut off and they aren't able to make another army. Build more power plants and the crystals you have conquered. Rebuild your army even stronger and keep researching unit caps. If you haven't made aircraft yet, start making them too. If they have an ally, then you must battle them too. After defeating the duo, the second one will always be a different battle. Once again, analyze them. It is likely they have an army as strong as yours, or maybe even a stronger one, and that they will start attacking your plants. It is important that you defend your plants while also trying to destroy theirs. Plane and space fighters are troops that can get around the map quickly. If a battle occurs, Try to fight behind your own buildings so they can absorb the damage. Keep reinforcing your army with heavy soldiers and heavy tanks until you reach the maximum cap. If you manage to destroy their income or armies before they do it to you, then you won the game. Now you can rebuild your once again damaged army and invade their home bases. And don't forget to wait until minute 30 to get that skin crate. Anyways, this is a really basic guide and there's a ton more that can be discussed, but if you follow these tips, you will have a solid chance of winning a game. There's countless situations in this game that you can only figure out what's the best decision through experience, but if you guys want, I can make a much more in-depth and advanced guide or make separate videos to discuss certain situations. Alright, this has been my first Conquerors video, I think. I'll probably make more, and see ya.